Remember this short-lived series Netflix and Marvel worked on? Marvel's Defenders. It plays in the same show four very interesting character. Well, I should say three and a half because I really don't like Iron Fist, but that's just me. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. That team up show deserves its own review, and this is what we are doing right now. So this show was well done, well written, very interesting, and my most recent watch was much better than my first and only watch I had when the series first came out. I say that because I thought it was just good, but not worth it to rewatch. And it's not a criticism or anything. I was just not that much invested into Iron Fist and Luke Cage to say, oh, I want more, I want to see them again. No, not really. To be honest, I first watched this series for Jessica Jones and Daredevil, two great characters. One had three very strong seasons, the other one sadly only had one good season, which is so sad, but yeah. The Defenders is a good show, even if it's very short. The series is well written. It's a team up show. It's the Defenders against the End, and the End is actually very boring. It's sad. Madame Gao and the other villain of the show are really weak, and I haven't read the comics, and I still don't really know what was their goal at the end of Defenders. So it's really hard to root for people you barely know. I think the show strength is the main characters, the heroes, what they do, and the action and the 8 hours of entertainment we can get from this show all combined works well. Despite the weak villain, this show is worth watching, and I recommend to everyone to watch it if you haven't. Now, we will go with spoiler as usual. Now, one of my issue is Karen Page. Karen Page in Defenders. What did they do with her? She made a very strong character that happened to be female into a damsel in distress, into a character that doesn't accept vigilante anymore because plot want her to be the voice of reason for Matt. This is kind of frustrating. During season 2, she defended Punisher, and at some extent during season 2 of Daredevil, she was actually rooting for Vigilante. She was on board with Vigilante. She thought and mentioned many times, what if what they are doing, despite being wrong, helps? But apparently, in between season, the fact that Matt Murdock told her his secret about being Daredevil, well, apparently this secret changed Karen Page point of view, and it's underdeveloped and it's kind of bad. And each time I've seen her on screen in Defenders TV show so far, I will rewatch season 3 after that, and we will see if this stick. But She is unrecognizable. I don't recognize her. She is no more the character I enjoyed in 2 seasons. She is something else. And yeah, she just doesn't accept Matt. So it's like they undermine what she did in season 2. They just forgot the kind of character she was in season 2. And she's just there to criticize Matt and to tell Matt, look, don't do that. I'm like your mom. I act like your mom. And I cannot root for that. I don't like that. And her lines, they they bother me a lot. And this is very sad to say. I think Matt telling her the truth was a huge mistake. Karen Page in Defenders, she looked like a selfish individual. She looked like someone that only cared about her and her well-being. Now, maybe she seemed to care about Matt's well-being, maybe, but this is not because, well, they are friends, but here's the thing. Matt Murdock was a hero, but she doesn't want that. Matt Murdock want that. So her wants, her needs override Matt need to be a vigilante. I don't like what they did with their relationship. She should be strong enough to let Matt do his thing. She should accept him as well, since apparently she was on board with Punisher in season 2 of Daredevil. It's not because Matt is a close friend that she should change her state of mind. It feels just wrong and off character and off putting as well, everything in one thing. I feel like the writer of this show probably didn't watch Daredevil season 2, or if they did, or if they actually made Daredevil season 2, they forgot who Karen Page was because she is different in Defenders, and I don't like what they did with her. And I will say this: I think the reason why they made her this way is to create a conflict and to have a character that wants Matt to stop being a vigilante, but in itself makes no sense because she didn't ask for the Punisher to stop. Now, she wasn't as close with Frank Castle and she was with Matt Murdock, but the idea is the same. They are both vigilante, they both do good, and I believe at some point in Daredevil's second season, she did defend a lot the Punisher. She may dislike his method, but she likes the results the Punisher would do. And Karen Page come across as someone very selfish in the Defender show, and Matt lies to her when he says he doesn't miss it. And it's clear for me it's because of Karen Page that he stopped being Daredevil. Now, to add more to that, I think Elektra dying also affected Matt Murdock, but the final nail on the coffin is clearly Karen Page because Foggy as a character, he haven't really changed that much from Daredevil season 2. He kind of dislike Matt going out, but he did accept it. He did accepted Matt going out as Daredevil because what can he do to stop him? Not that much. Now, what I like the most about the Defender show, it felt like a Daredevil season 2.5. And Daredevil is my favorite Netflix Marvel show and one of my favorite show ever if we speak about comic book live action adaptation. But even in shows in general, I think it's great. And the so far that this show feels like Daredevil season 2.5, I liked it a lot. So basically, what we have this season, the Defenders fight the end. Matt Murdock doesn't want to get involved too much because he lost Elektra, and obviously he fought Elektra as well, and he doesn't like that, and he wants to put this life behind him to move forward, which is very interesting considering what this life has brought him, and it's well explained why he changed and he is no more that person that deeply want to help. Now, by the end of the season, he comes back to his former self and he truly wants to help out. He truly wants to solve the conflict and he wants to attack the conflict at its root, which is good. But it took him a lot of episode and a lot of pep talk with different characters, which is interesting. Jessica Jones, same thing as Matt. She doesn't want anything to do with the end, but she's kind of forced into it because her close ones are in danger, and because at some point she realized as well she doesn't have a choice to be part of the team, and he will and she will actually help out instead of standing there and letting the other do their stuff. Now, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. In I believe episode 2 or 3, they had a chat that lasted for many scenes, and I had some issue with the message behind and some of Luke Cage lines, but the other part of the message was fine. Now, let's start by the part I didn't like. The part I didn't like was Luke Cage saying to Iron Fist, "Look, Danny, you're rich. You're a privileged person. You shouldn't cry. You shouldn't be this. You shouldn't be that." And it's hammered down our throat. So I feel like this was very political, that kind of approach, and it didn't felt like Luke Cage. Now, I have only seen season 1 once, and I will be honest with you, I tapped out of season 2, so I can't remember if it's in character for Luke Cage to be very political or not. However, I do know it's in character for him to take a stand and help out people in need, but that whole idea of Randy is not a victim, he's just some rich boy. It's it's really condescending, if I can call it that way. It's not natural. I don't like that kind of speech and dialogue between characters. And yeah, I just don't like that kind of message. Now, what I liked is the idea of the hero in general. Iron Fist at first, he wanted to deal with the end only to avenge his people out of revenge and vendetta. Now, I will be honest with you here again. I tapped out of Iron Fist season 1. I haven't finished season 1, and I don't think I will touch this thing ever again. I don't like the character. I don't like his show. The actor is doing fine. I have nothing against the actor. It's really the character in itself. I just I just don't relate to that character. I dislike the character. I and the main character in a show is very important for me, but sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes you also need a really good story. Luke Cage season 1 was great. I thought out of Luke Cage season 2 not because of the main character, because the main character was fine, but because of the story. In Iron Fist show, I wasn't on board with the story or Iron Fist in itself. That's why I tapped out. I was not invested into anything about the show, and I didn't like Kylene. She's generic, she's boring, she doesn't feel like her own character. Now, maybe I just don't understand her, but I'm just I'm just not interested with Kylene. I don't know if it's the actress, the writing, the character. I don't know what's wrong, but I don't like Kylene. I don't like. She's the weakest um, Marvel character in the Netflix universe. Even if she know kung fu, she's kind of a weak character in my own opinion. I'd rather pick Claire, Paige, even Karen like at some point. But anyway, um, yeah. So Luke Cage, he wants to get involved against the end to save people and lives. He wants to be a hero because this is what he does. He does the right thing. And Danny Rand is an Avenger. He won Vendetta, and I liked that chat when they spoke about their motive and why they do that kind of stuff. And it's crystal clear Luke Cage is right. He doesn't want to get involved with someone that has Vendetta as a driving plot in his story. And yeah, the story keep going. Lies always ruin everything in that kind of show. Uh, Matt Murdock trying his best to save Elektra was great. I liked it a lot. It was in character for Matt because he was the guy that always see the best in people, I guess. I think. And he really wants to help out and he feel like he can get through Electra. Now they get involved into the end plan. The end want to capture Iron Fist to open a portal, I guess, to do something. I really don't have a full understanding or grasp to what the end wants exactly. It's never really stated. They mention immortality, but how, what, when, I think it was really a character driven more than story driven, and it was character driven for the main cast, the heroes, because the villain are all bland. I don't like any of the villain, and it's very sad to say because the villain are very important in your show, and they did it right with Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. They did it right with Punisher, Elektra, and they did it right with who else? Yeah, they did it right with all of them. And I remember Gravedigger in Killgrave. No, it was Killgrave. I mixed up with Black Lightning. Uh, so the villain in Jessica Jones' first season was really good. Now season 2 and 3 are a blur for me, and I don't think I will ever rewatch because they are both really bad about what I can remember. I only have seen season 2 and 3 once, and I don't plan on rewatching that No, it's just not good. But season one, I think I will consider rewatching because season one I liked it. Now, Stick basically explain the lore and the story of the end, Kong Lu and everything, and he also kind of create the defenders, and he give the defenders the mission, and the team works very well. The fight choreography when there's action is great. Feels like Daredevil and also Iron Fist. Now, even if I dislike Iron Fist, I must say the fight choreography is fine. It's not the best. I think Daredevil has the best fight choreography, but Iron Fist still had good fight choreography. Now, the plot is not really complex, and the season is not really complex as well. Alexandra, the leader of the End, she basically lost her way, and Elektra decides to backstab her after putting the pieces of her past together. Because when Elektra was brought back to life, she lost her memory, I'm guessing. But as the season progressed, she gains everything she lost back. So she learned again to fight. She learned again her past. But yet, at the end of the season, I still feel like she is a villain and not the Elektra that was kind of redeemed at the end of Daredevil season 2. So I'm guessing she is different, but she has the same past. Um, So yeah, there's that conflict. Matt will risk his own life and the mission if he can save Elektra. And the police get involved because at some point Stick is murdered and one of the end finger died. So the police investigate the defenders, and then the defenders escape to go be down the end, and everything end with season 3 with a full building collapsing and crushing everything, and people believe Matt Murdock died. Now here's my take. As much as I like Matt Murdock, as much as I think the actor is perfect of the role, as much as Daredevil as a show was great, and as much as I remember liking season 3, I think he should have died. Giving such a plot armor was ridiculous because he survives, obviously. But more than that, uh, it was very emotional, his death, and his final word, in quote, to Iron Fist was protect my city, which is very in character. And as much as season 3 did good stuff, I think killing him off could have done something. I mean, maybe someone else could take up the mantle of Daredevil. I really don't know, but yeah, it's very mystical, and that's it. I think I've spoke enough now. Just like any other overview over this channel, I will read my own comments on Rotten Tomato, and I will also read the audience comments over there to see what are the other people feedback toward the show. I hope you guys will enjoy. Here we are. Let's move this down. Critics 78, audience 70. Let's start off my comments. I always remembered the Defenders as being Daredevil Season 2.5. My most recent watch didn't change a thing. Here are my few issues. Karen Page being against Matt going out as Daredevil. In season 2, she was clearly on Punisher's side and she agreed with the result. Of course, she didn't agree with the method, but she still understood why he was the way he was. Karen seemed as being very annoying during each exchanges she gets with Matt. I think they wrote her this way only to make her different than Foggy, but it still felt off character. The Karen in the show wasn't the Karen from Daredevil. Foggy, as amazing as during the show, is as is best he can be as guest star that appear in few scenes here and there. My second issue would be lies driving plot around. Matt not saying everything. The defenders not explaining what was going on with the end to the police felt weird. Some plot convenience happened here and there for everyone to meet in New York. The end as a group isn't great as villain. They are all bland and they lack character traits that could separate them from each other. Another issue, some of the scenes repeat themselves and feel like filler since they explain things we already know, making the pacing sometimes terrible. The good. Elektra as a character is amazing. She is much more conflicted and appealing than the rest of the end. However, she was much better as a character in Daredevil Season 2. Jessica Jones and Matt Murdock are two amazing main characters. We got a broken Matt that tries his best to save lives. We got a Jessica that doesn't want to get involved but end up getting involved to save lives because that's simply the right thing to do. Luke Cage was the voice of the reason in several areas in the story. Iron Fist was boring and just disliked the character, but he's still the key of everything, so he still play an important and somewhat good part of the story. Stick as the mentor for the team was great. The fight choreography was well done. The show is funny and entertaining. You can fully understand the show if you have seen Jessica Jones and Daredevil. My likes of the show override my dislikes. The show is well written. The last episode was very emotional, even if I knew Matt would survive. The dark tone of the show was perfect. They found good ways to nerf the powered characters. The supporting cast was good outside of Kayleen and Karen. The plot twists were good. 9 out of 10 I highly recommend. This is what we need in the NCU street level team ups. So the other few comments are very long, so let's read them all. So here we are. This is a good show, and all the characters together did a good job. For me, Scott Glenn in the role of Stick was amazing. He made sure this show had that something extra where you always search for. Only it has a shame the build up was so slow or the season was too short. I do not surely know because now, in my experience, the story felt rushed. Hmm, I don't think so. And here's the why I don't think it was rushed. Let's be very honest. The show is not really deep. It's somewhat of an empty show. Now, I gave it a 9 out of 10, but it's because it's entertaining. It's not the same kind of 9 out of 10 I would give to, let's say, Daredevil first season. I think Daredevil first season is much better than the Defenders because it's different, it's deeper, it has more team, more action. The Defender is a good popcorn flick. It's entertaining, but it wasn't rushed. If they changed the pacing, I think the show would be too long. For 8 episodes, I think 8 episodes was perfect. Add an extra episode, I probably don't like that extra episode they will give. I will give a good example. The Punisher, I remember season 1 being a disappointment. It had like 13 episodes, but they crammed so much, it was rushed, and a lot of filler were placed in the season. The Defender, however, has no filler. Now, there are filler scenes I don't like, but here again, that goes against being rushed. Because if you rush, you cut all the extra we already know. Uh, all the Clear and Kylie scene did repeat themselves. They all delivered the message. We support the heroes. Most of the Karen scene are not really impressive. It's not rushed. I disagree. Add more, you add too much. So let's read the next one. Do we see everything? Yes, we do. This is a super fun convergence of the major Marvel Netflix shows for a short series that join them all together but is not essential to viewing the standalone series. This one takes place between season 2 and 3 of Daredevil and involved the end plan destroying New York City in its quest for ultimate power. Now, I disagree with some of the statements. Now, I can't remember Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, or Iron Fist really getting affected by Defenders, but I do know what happened in Defenders lead directly to what happens in Daredevil season 3. So if you are into Daredevil TV show, you need to watch Defender to fully have the context and to fully understand why Matt is the way he is in season 3. But as of the other show, I don't know well the other show. I wasn't hooked as much with the other shows. But that's just me. Now let's keep going. Comic book lovers enjoy asking hypothetical questions about which superheroes are stronger or who would win in a battle of various legends. This series gives audience a chance to explore those questions for these characters, but it offers more. I really enjoyed the interplay, especially because the lead character of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil are some well showcased. Now, I don't know if he forgot Iron Fist or if he agrees with me. Iron Fist was the weaker of the four, not in terms of, of firepower or level, but just in terms of the kind of character he is. He didn't brought that much to the series outside of being the key of everything. Additionally, the strong female supporting character of the four series are great together. Jen Enwick and Rosario Dawson, in particular, are really fun to watch. Now, I don't know the other actress. I know Rosario Dawson is Claire. She's the only one I know. And Deborah Ann Wolf for Daredevil. But to be honest, Karen Page is really a weak part. At least they didn't mention her. As of Jen Enwick, maybe it's Misty, or maybe it's the Chinese one. If it's the Chinese one, I disagree because the Chinese one is pretty boring as a character. Okay, you don't need to watch this one to watch the other shows. You can also watch this if you never watched any of the other. It is a fun time. Now, I think to fully understand Defenders, you need um, to see Jessica Jones and Daredevil as well. Otherwise, it will dip in quality. I can tell. I just know it. So here we are. It was amazing to see four characters at once in a team up. Every Defenders member was amazing and side character too. Incredibly good action and storyline. I want more of that. This is marvelous, incredible, transcendent. Four different people come together and create an amazing team. The best squad of my art. One thing I need is the team up scene should be more brilliant. Hope to see Defenders of New York again soon in the future. One giant disappointment. I don't know where you are coming from. Maybe he is a Luke Cage or a Iron Fist fan and I just don't understand it, but yeah. Excellent series. A very good plot. Now let's read the other one now. I think I should like move aside this. Just like that. While Defenders is far from perfect and has its flaws, it has some good stuff in it as well. It's nicely balanced. All the characters who are involved in the show and allows the involvement of those characters to make sense so it doesn't feel like they were all thrown together just for fan service. The story and plot of the show makes sense and remains straightforward enough throughout it so that nothing gets too confusing. I hope you're not confused. It's a quite simple show. It's not Daredevil for sure. Um, which is impressive considering that basically every big character from every one of the solo show appears in Defenders at some point. The action is pretty good and it's cool to see this group of heroes working together for the greater good. A core theme of this show, as generic and cliche as it may be, is that there are some things you simply can't do alone and teamwork can achieve a lot when it's done right. All that said, there are moments where the direction and dialogue are awkward. I can tell which ones. The actors do their best to overcome this, but they aren't successful 100% of the time, which causes some scene to be disrupted. Even the action feels leafy at times, which is disappointing since there are a bunch of talented fighters in the show. The worst part about this season is the pacing, which is mostly due to having 8 episodes and not 13 like the solo shows. This causes the season to feel a bit too fast, which leaves certain things underdeveloped, and it's clear that part of the season had to be rushed to fit into 8 episodes. Defenders would have benefited immensely from slower pacing to give more time for the plot and character to develop and give season depth. Overall, thought Defenders is enjoyable enough. It managed to get past its flaws on many occasions. Now, I agree on saying it's not deep. It's Defender. It's a good popcorn flick, action flick, call it the way you want. It doesn't need 13 episodes. It just doesn't. There's no deeper theme, there's no deeper plot. It's straightforward. So I don't understand these people complain. Maybe they just like it when it's very, very slow and it's boring. I know I don't. Maybe that's why I dropped out after 3 episodes in Punisher second season. With that out of the way, I think pacing wise, it was perfect. Make it slower, it will feel rush. Make it longer, it will drag on, to be honest. The story doesn't take forever to be told. It's very simple and straightforward. Now, if you want to add more layers to it, you could maybe add up more of the backstory of each character for anyone that haven't seen their shows, but I don't see the need. I just don't. 8 episodes is perfect for me. But that's my take. As I said, uh, I liked it. 9 out of 10, but it's not the same kind of 9 out of 10 that than let's say Daredevil first season. Daredevil first season is much better than that, and it has nothing to do with 13 episodes. It's the theme, the depth of the show, the way the show is. It's just better than Defender, but Defender is still very good and underrated. So, did you watch this show? Did you like it? So, I hope you guys enjoyed that overview. Like, comment, and subscribe. We will see each other in future video. Have a great day.